anyway, that's when I first met Dr. Weeks and his lovely wife, Laura. And I was so excited because I started taking some of their products of omega-6 and I started using them on our trip up to Whistler. And to make a long story short, I cannot believe how much better I felt, how much more energy. I felt like it was starting to give me life. And besides all my issues with my knee I sprained my knee and I felt like an old man walking around with my knee. And to make a long story short, I've been studying natural medicine for over 40 years. When I was in my 20s, I got cataracts. And being an optometrist, I knew that was very strange that a young guy would get cataracts. And so I started studying nutritional medicine. I started reading all the books I could on it. I started going to seminars. I went to Dr. Wright, who was one of the pioneers in natural medicine. He's up in Kent, he was in the Kent area at that time. I think he's in South Seattle now. Anyway, to make a long story short, I've tried many natural therapies. I started with the antioxidants was the first thing that I really felt I did get a little benefit from. And I've gone from one thing to another. I've tried essential oils. I've tried structured water with green tea, which I still do because I feel like it is very beneficial. Come on in. And I started studying the herbs, trying to find out what are the best herbs to use. And I felt another higher level of health when I was taking the herbs, especially with the adaptogenics. I found some adaptogenics that I really liked, which are herbs that help increase your energy and decrease your stress, which just feels so good not being stressed out. The older you get, the easier it is to get stressed when you're type A personality, especially.
I'm finding the opposite. It's like, que sera. I'm older.
Anyway, I just wanted to give you a little bit of introduction. So I've had a lot of experience with a lot of natural therapies. I did the colloidal minerals. I've done, I've done the whole gamut. And when I started trying these products, it just blew me away. And when I got home, I started doing extensive study on omega-6, which is one of the main ingredients in these products. And that's why we've got that article that I wrote in my magazine, because that's a result of all the research that I did on omega-6, and I feel like it's the elixir of the Holy Grail. And I felt like my body was in a famine of omega-6. I was doing high-dose fish oil. And at first when I took fish oil, it helped a little because it is an anti-inflammatory. But it has side effects. It increases your blood sugar, it clogs up the other cells. And when I switched to the omega-6, I could not believe how much better my skin is. And I can go up and down the line with all the different things that I feel better. And from my research, I found out that omega-6 is in every cell in your body. The cell wall has a certain percentage of omega-6. Even the mitochondria has omega-6 in it. And so it takes a while for your body to replace all of those cells. So if it takes a while for your body to really get healed, it takes a while, because I guess how many years is it? It takes before you're
7 years.
7 years before every cell in your body is turned over. So it could take 7 years for you to get back to your feeling like you're in your 20s. But anyway, I really felt inspired with this, and then after, like I said, after taking these products, I just had to research it more. I found out that the main seed oils are black cumin seed oil, black raspberry seed oil, Chardonnay grape seed oil, hemp seed oil were kind of some of the main ones that I felt were the best in high omega-6. And so I started doing research on the hemp seed oils and feel like it's a really good oil. But when you study and you listen to Dr. Weeks talk about the Soul product, it's a blend of 3 of the really good omega-6 oils, especially the black cumin seed oil. which is one of the most powerful. When I researched black cumin seed oil, everything you can think of, anti-inflammatory, antibiotic, antiviral, antifungal, you can go right down the list. It's good for everything. Anyway, Dr. Weeks is one of the pioneers in natural medicine, just like Dr. Wright. In fact, he used to work with Dr. Wright. And so he knows all these pioneers. And after my visits with him and talking to him, I think he's one of the best doctors there is in natural medicine.
My mother thinks that too.
So anyway, I really feel privileged that we have him here today. He's got all kinds of degrees, psychiatrist, and all these good things that he could tell you more about if he wants. But basically, he's well qualified to give you advice about anything.
John, thank you very much. You know, it's so heartening to find open-minded practitioners. I have to tell you, they're few and far between, so you're lucky here to have someone like Dr. Carroll, because the optometrist and the ophthalmologist, like the dentists, will see illness before anybody else. You know, there are lots of early warning signs. So I'm very glad to have been examined by him yesterday, because I feel like the nutritional optometrists, they're just, you can count them on one hand maybe in this area. But to have an optometrist who can look in the eye and see what's going on and then say, oh, let's not give you a drug, which is always a synthetic, foreign to the body, alien entity, which the body will have some difficulty processing. So synthetic drugs always come with side effects and such. Welcome. Hi there. So you have Dr. Carroll who can say, well, let's give you something natural the body can deal with and we'll fix that, not just suppress the symptoms. So I'm very glad for our friendship and our collegiality.
Do you want to give a brief introduction to them too?
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, so- Hey, that's right. We have 4 daughters, and my sense is that the party didn't start until the 4th one was born. So like you, the party's starting now. So my name is Brad Weeks, and I'm a conventionally trained medical doctor. But I went to medical school at 28, and I had already studied acupuncture and macrobiotic diets and massage. And so I was the guy sitting in the front row while they're talking the basic science, and I'm thinking, really? You believe that? So I always was kind of a misfit in the conventional medical world, because I was always interested in trying to solve the problems and not just suppress the symptoms with medications. Now, if I have a terrible headache, thank God if you can give me a pain medication. But it should really only buy us time so we can figure out why we're having the headache. Right? The doctor who says you had a problem and the drug took away your symptoms, that's just the beginning of the effort, in my opinion. Now you have to figure out whether it's changing the diet or something, or getting pesticides out of your blood, figure out how we can fix the problem. So our practice, my wife Laura and I had a practice called corrective medicine. So we try to correct the imbalances. For my cancer patients, it's always first getting rid of the fear. There's a huge imbalance there. Someone says, you've got the big C, and then all of a sudden all reason goes out the window, and they're just terrified. So you have to correct that imbalance and realize you don't have to be afraid of cancer, you just have to be strategic. And so we've treated folks with all sorts of illnesses, and the reason we're here today is because the executive summary is that what I'm going to share with you about seed nutrition trumps everything else we've done, you know, intravenous treatments, everything else. So I thought what I'd start with is a brief explanation of seed nutrition. And seeds are we all parents in the room? Mm-hmm. Well, we would give everything to our kids, right? I mean, here's my lifeblood, you know, just go and thrive. And the seed is the child of the plant. And that's why the seed has 20 to 30 times more nutrients in the seeds than in the flesh of the fruit or vegetable. So, you know, if Laura and I were not getting along and we're on a desert island and she didn't know what I knew and a watermelon washed up, I'd say to her, hey, you can have all this delicious sweet stuff if I can have all those little black seeds. And if she fell for it, she'd get the carbo, the sugar, You know, I feel great, now I'm crashing. But I'd get 20 to 30 times more selenium, zinc, chromium, potassium, magnesium, and so forth than she would, because I'm eating the seeds. So the first message is, eat the seeds. Now, some people do that anyway, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, but rarely do we eat lemon seeds. We don't eat papaya seeds. We don't eat the pit of the avocado, which is the absolute treasure chest of the avocado. So message number
They're
one.
hard to chew though.
Yeah, they're hard to chew, so you have to put them in the Vitamix or something else, cut them up. You can saute them. They're bitter, right? The seed is encased in a husk and it's bitter. So Mother Nature doesn't really want us to eat the seeds. She wants us to eat the fruit, walk over here, and plant another tree. That's the design, it'll go right through you. But if you can access the seed, it's really the revolution in nutrition. And the human body is always trying to heal itself. Until our last breath, the body remains optimistic. It thinks it can fix it. It's just wondering why the pilot, in this case not the co-pilot, which is the wisdom with it, but why the pilot keeps eating dairy or whatever else the problem might be, which is throwing monkey wrenches in the deal. I love dairy. I'm a type A of blood, not type O, but still, I can guarantee that if anybody here thinks that dairy is good for your health, that's not correct. My granddad was a dairy farmer. He's spinning in his grave, I'm sure, but there's a lot of sensible things you can do in terms of changing your diet to get on top of these things. So here we go with the seeds. It's the treasure chest of nature, but it has to be organic seeds. Why is that? Well, every living organism concentrates toxins in the fat tissue. So it's the belly of the tuna and the eyes and the brain of the tuna which gets the mercury. It's not the meat. It's not the flesh of the tuna. It's the fatty tissues. And so all living organisms concentrate toxins in the fatty tissues. The only fatty tissue in the plant is the seed. So if you only get half the message, which is eat the seed, and you go and eat regular pesticided, herbicided seeds, or plants that have these seeds, you're going to get the worst that the plant has to offer. So it has to be organic and non-GMO. Now, what we have found is that if people eat the seeds, it's like giving them all that they need in terms of nutrients to solve the problems that the body's experiencing. It's always our body that fights cancer and wins. It's not the chemo drugs or the radiation. It's the body's immune system. And as we get older, we don't digest as well. You know, our hair turns white not because of age, but because of relative malabsorption, malnutrition. I could show you pictures of people whose hair came back black after being white for 20 years, because now they're getting more nutrition. Kind of an interesting phenomenon. So one of the things that the seeds give us is nutrient density. Do you guys remember the name Willie Horton? Willie Sutton? Remember who robbed banks in the 30s? He was kind of a Robin Hood guy, and he would rob for the banks and he'd give to the poor. And all of America knew this guy's kind of a Bonnie and Clyde. And finally he's caught, and the newspaper reporter says, you know, Mr. Sutton, why do you rob banks? And the famous line is, well, that's where the money is. Why wouldn't I rob banks? Why would I rob a salon if I can rob a bank? Well, why do we eat seeds? That's where the nutrients are. So message number one is eat the seeds. And you can do that by buying organic and freezing them. Because if you freeze the seed and then put it in the blender, it'll go into a fine powder. Whereas if you're blending up the seeds at room temperature, it'll be a gooey mess. So the easy thing is to just buy these seed-based products, rip and sip, but you don't have to. Just eat the organic seeds. And you can put the powder in your salad or your soup or a smoothie or something, and you'll be really getting a huge benefit. Now, most medical doctors are told omega-6, which is the seed oils, are bad for you. So you'll get ratios of omega-6 to omega-3. And if you have too much omega-6, the doctor says it's bad for you. And in a sense, the doctor is correct, because most of the omega-6 oils that we eat are from canola or vegetable oils or McDonald's French fry. That's omega-6 vegetable oil they're cooking that in. or any of the junk food pastries and so forth, that's preserved with hydrogenated oils, which are omega-6 vegetable oils. So we agree that most of the omega-6 we eat is bad, and therefore the research which shows that omega-6 is inflammatory is accurate, but it's being done on already kind of toxic canola vegetable oil. Does that make sense? So that your doctor will say, well, whatever Dr. Weeks says makes no sense because omega-6s are bad for you. Yes, if you're using the junky vegetable oils. But if you're using unadulterated seed oils, you've got the best of the omega-6s. And as Dr. Carroll said, the omega-6s is really what we're made of. The skin has 1,000 times more omega-6 than omega-3. So nobody would ever open up a fish oil capsule and rub it on their face, because all it's going to do is stick there and attract flies. But you can open up a lemon seed oil or something, put it on your skin, it goes right through. The skin's made of omega-6. So eczema, psoriasis, acne, hyperkeratosis, all these skin issues are resolved by topical omega-6 seed oils. And of course, for skin health, you want health coming from the inside out too, so you want to drink these things. But the neurological tissue, for example, the skin is 1,000 times more omega-6 than omega-3. The neurological tissue is 100 times more. So MS, Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, tremors, seizures, these are all diseases of the essential fatty acids, and it needs omega-6. And when you take the good oil in, it'll kick out the bad oil. Remember, things like mercury or pesticides are quarantined in your neurological and fatty tissues. So a lot of times MS could be from pesticides or heavy metals, because they get lodged in the fatty tissues, the myelin sheath. The best way to get those out is to give the body plenty of raw material of omega-6 to rebuild the myelin sheath with. It'll kick out the mercury. Just because it's smarter than we are. The body has really a lot of wisdom in it, fearfully and wonderfully made. And then the other thing about the omega-6s is they actively transport oxygen into the cell. And that's important because whereas fish oil kind of suffocates the cell membrane, remember, I'm making a distinction between fish. I'm a big fan of eating wild fish as much as you want. But fish oil is a different thing. That's an extract, that's a distillate, and the body really doesn't have much to do with fish oil, funnily enough. The amount of fish oil, DHA and EPA, the body needs is about 10 to 20 milligrams. The average capsule of fish oil is like 400 milligrams, a huge overdose of what we really need. So that's the omega-6 story. It brings oxygen into the cell. So if I had a skin cancer right here, I'd be just dabbing this sole, just a little bit like that, about every half hour. And I'd be saturating that skin cancer with omega-6, which actively brings oxygen into the cancer cell, and cancers hate oxygen. You can also do that from the inside out. The other thing I'll say before I move on to some slides is many people with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis or diverticulitis are told don't eat seeds. What they're being told is don't eat the actual seed in its seed form, because there's inflamed tissue and the seed itself can get lodged somewhere and cause trouble. But our products are made from seeds, but they're finely ground or milled, cold pressed, so you can eat them. In fact, we have great testimonials of people with serious, and Crohn's is considered incurable. We have biopsy-proven Crohn's a year later, biopsy-proven cure, same site. So let me, so is that a helpful introduction? We can talk about seeds, they've got to be organic. And then the different products. This one is the one, I was a ski jumper in college, and I played football and hockey and lacrosse growing up, so I was always beat up a lot, and I enjoyed that, but my back was hurt. For 20 years I had back pain, and I had tried all sorts of things, and nothing really did much. And I took this packet twice a day for 2 days, and on the morning of the third day, I'm on the way to the bathroom, and I realized I have no pain. So that got my attention, right? And I had to study what was in these products. The black cumin seed is the most powerful anti-inflammatory seed. The raspberry seed and the Chardonnay grape are number 2 and 3. And this formulation in this product was created by an oncologist, a cancer doctor, named Arnold Leonard at the University of Minnesota. And he was given grant money to find the perfect food for children who'd been ravaged by chemotherapy. And he was smart enough in an agricultural state to know that seeds are nutrient dense, and he knew that cancer spreads by inflammation. So if you have anti-inflammatory seeds, you have the best fight against cancer, because you're gonna nourish the kids. Remember, if we've all known people who died of cancer, they died of cachexia, they died of wasting away. Right? Cancer itself doesn't kill, it just starves you. It commandeers the resources, so the body fades away. Well, that means it's nice to eat seeds, which are 20 to 30 times more nutrient dense than the other food you're eating, so you're getting all that nutrients, and you get the oils and so forth. Now, the fun thing to start with, I think, if you'll indulge me, is a brief little video which I think